Hello, everyone. Welcome to our webinar about learning English through acting. Okay. We'll wait for a few more people to join, but I'm joined today by Luca Delgado. Welcome, Luca, to our
Thank you.
Webinar.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. Hi.
Luca works with us, and he, like me, is in Naples at the moment. Okay. Let us know in the chat where you are. Okay. We'll just give, like normal, we'll give it 3 or 4 minutes till everyone gets in. Piacenza, Taranto.
Nice.
Okay. Does everyone have good weather? It's a very warm day here in Naples, even if it's a little windy. Is it windy where you are, Luca?
It's a little bit. I can see people from Benevento and Parma. It should be nice weather in Benevento too.
Oh, another person from Naples, Gabriella.
Yeah, Gabriella. Hi, Gabriella.
Luca will be joining us in some of the summer centres. So you'll probably see, if you're coming to our British centres, you'll see him and myself in centres, and Rebecca, who is often on these webinars. So if not, you'll see us in real life.
Yeah. Well, it's happening soon. I can't wait. After 2 years, finally.
We've got some great new things this summer, and I think we're going to really, restart again in a great way.
Yeah. Can't wait.
Nice weather everywhere, it looks like. Okay.
Yep. Trieste. Oh, I love Trieste. Hi, Silva.
What's the wind they get there? The phone? Or, no.
Yeah, it's a Bora, maybe. I don't want to say it wrong. I don't want to make mistakes.
Correct me. Yeah, there's a wind they have that comes in over the hills, I believe.
Yeah, Bora.
The Bora.
Yeah.
Okay. The phone is the one from the other side of the Alps, I think.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Not now, though.
Not now? Well, that's good. Okay.
I'm in love with the city because of my great passion for James Joyce.
Me too.
So kindly, yeah.
I went when I came to Italy. I first went to Trieste, and I was thinking of getting a job teaching English there because that's what James Joyce did.
Yeah, Berlitz School.
Berlitz School, yes.
Yeah. Cool.
But I don't know. He didn't stay there that long. Although he taught what's his name? The writer, didn't he?
Yeah,
Zeno, what's his name?
Please suggest teachers. Svevo. Sorry. Oh my God, that was Svevo. Yeah, he actually encouraged him. Svevo was having issue, in getting his books published, and Joyce kind of sponsored him. So yeah.
Well, I know who to ask if we ever do a webinar on James Joyce, because I've got. Just let me a second.
Yeah.
On my bookshelf, I've got the big, thick, annotated copy of.
That's Ulysses.
Yep.
Oh my God! Yeah, that's amazing.
I studied it in university, so it's my favorite.
Nice. Okay. I actually did my thesis on Dubliners and on the Easter Rising. There was more of a connection with them.
Oh, you missed out. We did a webinar, and we had the poem Easter 1960.
Oh, nice.
Yeats.
By Yeats, yeah. Nice.
That was on our Easter webinar.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure among the teachers, many teachers who love Ireland, there's this connection between Italy and Ireland that I've always noticed. This kind of, it's something we share with many teachers.
Yeah, there's a big one of our big centres in Galway this year, so I'm sure a lot of people will be there. Okay?
Yeah.
Anyway, I think we might start going. We'll give it 1 more minute. People are still joining, but I think we'll start in about a minute. And Luca's going to be talking to us a little bit about learning English through acting. If you've just joined us, this is, sorry to break the news, but this will be our last webinar before the summer. I'm sure you're busy with the end of the school year, and we're busy preparing for the summer centres. But we've got a special guest here, Luca Delgado, and he's going to be taking us through learning English through acting. Let us know in the chat if you've ever used any acting techniques, if you've ever acted, if you have a favorite actor, and if you've ever used acting methods or acting activities in your English classes. Let us know in the chat. Colin Firth, favorite actor. Darcy.
Good choice. Good choice.
I think his wife is Italian, I believe.
I think so too, yeah.
Anyway, let's start. So, welcome everyone, and we'll start going on learning English through acting.
All right. Good evening, everyone. Hello, everyone. First of all, thanks for having me. I want to thank Emily Wald and Josh for helping me and to give me this opportunity to spend some time together. I introduce myself very quickly. So
Please.
I am a teacher myself. I teach English in an Italian school, but I've had this great opportunity to work in the drama environment and to become the translator of Peter Brook, that you probably know as a director. So, yeah, I've been very lucky. And so I started like some 20 years ago to teach drama as well. After myself, I was a student myself of drama. So I learned how to teach, and the things that I'm going to share with you guys today are part of my experience. And I literally believe that this can be beneficial for the way we actually train our kids, especially at the very beginning of a school year, when we can give them a little bit of an imprinting of what we would like them to be. Now, the activities that I will share with you, I've practiced them several times, and I'm going to speak about that a bit later. Just let me introduce first of all what is going to be the afternoon together. Of course, you will receive a certificate of participation.
Yeah, so we've got everything as usual. All this, you'll get a certificate, and you get a webinar handout, which has one of the worksheets on there and some useful links. Please remember to email us there at formazione@mlaworld.com in case you don't receive it. We might have got your email wrong, so we'll get it out very quickly to you. So don't worry. If you want a hard copy of this, you'll get all this information, all the links, everything. Anyway, I think Luca thought that instead of doing a straight introduction, we're going to divide the introduction into 5 acts. Since Shakespeare's plays were divided into 5 acts, I think it's a good example. So I'll let Luca take over most of the webinar now.
Okay, thank you. Now, well, first act is going to be All the World's a Stage. Very famous quote, but I'd like to start with that because there are strong similarities between a classroom and the theater, and I'm sure you've appreciated this. What we do in class is something that it can be called an exchange, just as what happens, in a theater. It's an event that we can't repeat. So every class is different, just like a performance. And there's an exchange. There's the one person speaking or more people speaking, and there's the rest who's interacting and listening, just as what happens in a theater. And we can go on with the next step. No worries. So this exchange, like I said, will never be repeated in the exact same way. Now, in my practice, in my everyday life, we can move to the third step. Yeah, what I've noticed is that, well, speaking a foreign language is like playing a part on a stage or on a film set. Okay, let's say that the act of speaking itself, okay, could be somehow jeopardized by the idea of by having this fear of being judged, and it is probably fear is the greatest of the enemies when we need to speak and we're trying to express ourselves. Now, if we can continue with the next one.
Sorry.
Now, So to play a part in Act 2, now when we speak a foreign language, we are kind of different. I'm sure you've experienced this when you were learning English for the first time, okay? Our tone of voice changes, our facial expressions change. That is literally what we feel when, for example, we see someone else who's Italian speaking English. We notice this kind of difference.
Yeah.
And it's just because we like playing a part. I don't know if you guys agree.
Yeah,
but
I certainly do. I feel a bit different when I'm speaking Italian to when
you
I'm
know, you
speaking
kind of
English.
take
A different personality.
Yeah, yeah.
I
I'm
feel a
sure
bit more Italian.
but I'm sure you kind of use gestures maybe a bit more just
Exactly, yeah.
you know, to match words and body language, you know, just as an Italian would do. So when I speak English, for example, I've noticed that like the tone of voice gets a bit more deep. And this is why, again, I think that when we speak a foreign language, it's like we're playing a part. So the mechanisms to gain confidence and to get rid of the embarrassment, since we said, remember, we said fear can be an enemy. All right. So those mechanisms to gain confidence and to get rid of embarrassment are the same in both drama classes and English classes, literally the same mechanisms.
I think it's a good point too, that, I mean, like you mentioned gestures. I mean, if you're a good actor, then you're going to be using your body. And if you're a good speaker, you're going to be using this physicality. So I think it's really important that students, you know, don't just sit there moving their lips, but actually use their sort of intonation. They can move their head, things like
Absolutely.
that.
Absolutely. Yeah. Now, many exercises can be beneficial for both drama students and English students, okay? These exercises that I'm going to share with you are exercises that I've done with my students of drama. And then at one point I said, okay, let me try in class. Let me literally try in class the same kind of exercises. And the results were amazing, okay? Let's continue with Act 3 that we call tips for the tipsy. Obviously, there's a game here with words, but I'm sure that you've felt after a drink or two that you are more fluent, okay? This feeling that when we're a bit tipsy, we kind of feel more fluent, we kind of have that strong vocabulary, we feel that confident, okay? It's not because of the alcohol. Okay, because otherwise we should, and we can't obviously advise our kids to drink. And now, no, we can promote. I don't even know if that's okay to be on a webinar to speak about drinking, but it's just to give you an idea that what's happening there is like we've loosened up. Okay, after a drink or two, we don't care anymore if we make a mistake. Okay,
Yeah.
we don't feel that we're not kind of interested anymore in the judgment of the others, and we lost that kind of fear, and we don't care if we make a mistake. It's not going to be an issue. No one is going to judge me. Okay, we should try to reach that stage for which we're so relaxed and we're so confident that literally we feel, you know, that language is coming to our mouth and all vocabulary is there. Now, Act 4, we called it crossing the Rubicon, using the metaphor, because what I've experienced is that let's say the crossing the Rubicon. I can read someone saying, "Why cannot we see the speaker, Marina?" I think you can see the full screen, right, Marina?
Yeah, I think it's. I don't know if we have a choice between seeing the speaker as well as the slides, but I think we're just going to have to stay with that. We'll take it off for a little while.
Yeah, Marina. Yeah, Marina. Sorry. Okay, Paula says that you can see me. Okay, good. Okay. Let's continue. Okay, we will continue, and then bear with us. You're going to see our faces soon. Okay. Now, Act 4, crossing the Rubicon. Once you've gained a bit of confidence and once you've understood what to do, you know, in order to lose a bit of fear, you don't want to go back. Okay. Once you've learned how to cope with fear and anxiety, and what I've learned through studying drama is that each of us has to cope with anxiety and speaking in public. There's not such a thing as a person who doesn't care. Okay, even the most trained person, before starting, a session or a meeting on speaking, will feel a bit of fear. It's just that the person has learned how to cope with that. Okay, so once we've taught our kids and once they've learned how to cope with fear and anxiety, students won't care anymore about the judgment. Okay, and they will feel powerful. And obviously, this is a booster for their confidence. So they kind of they will feel that strength, and they will have the courage to continue. And there's no way they can go back, or they will do their best not to go back, because they will literally enjoy this phase. Okay. Now, Act 5 is possibly the most important one. It's Act 5 at the end of the day. So to play. All right. You probably, I need to use a bit of Italian here, so literally bear with me. The Italian words that refer to the activity of playing, we use recitare and giocare, okay? Whereas in English, we only have one word, which is to play, okay? Those among you who can also speak French and have learned French, you know that it's exactly the same. We only have one word to refer to verbs like recitare and giocare, which is jouer. It's the exact same thing, okay? At the end of the day, whoever came up with, you know, in the use of this vocabulary probably knew that that was more or less the same thing, okay? To play and to act, which is a little bit different, okay? So don't be surprised if some of the activities look like games. Okay, and also don't be surprised on the one thing, because I teach drama to my kids, some of our colleagues in school sometimes take drama as just a waste of time. They think it's a game, you know, they think kids are having too much fun, so it's not serious, so that means they're not learning. Okay, this is something I've experienced in every school I've been, so I'm sharing my experience with you. The thing is, they're quite the same kind of activities. And yes, there's nothing wrong in letting the kids play if they're learning, as long as they're learning.
I think this is a sort of a theme of these webinars that we've been doing, is that, you know, to try and make the learning fun, getting the kids interested. I think as soon as you get the kids interested, then learning's going to be much easier. Okay, I mean, you know, just for me, I can't learn unless it's something I'm interested in.
Yeah, absolutely, yes. Well, the next point is also kind of you know, interesting. You know, the more we grow up, the more fear kind of grows in us. When we are kids, okay, that's the time in which we should all try to go back for at least this moment. Okay, when we were children, we never actually cared of other people's judgment. Okay, if you give a toy to a kid, to a child, to a baby, he or she is going to play no matter what. He won't feel, you know, judged. He would just do. Okay, the more we grow, unfortunately, the more we care about other people's judgments, the more we care of the way they look at us, or the you know, the image that we give, and the way we look outside. So in kind of taking back that feeling of just not caring and just going for the game should be what we should aim to.
I think this is sort of one of the reasons why kids learn languages so quickly.
Absolutely.
Okay? So they don't have the nervousness of using it. They just use it because they want to speak to their kids or whatever. Okay?
No, I totally agree with you, Josh. The thing is, there's obviously the mechanisms in the brains that allow kids to absorb and learn quicker, of course. But part of it is that because kids literally are going to do the many times we repeat, you know, a word to a child who's going to do the impression of us at the beginning, that's literally playing, and that's literally learning the language. Okay. Now, next one.
All right.
So yeah, like I said, the more we grow, the more we worry, unfortunately. Let's go on. Try to tell this to your students, okay? If everything that we're doing right now, you're going to share with the students, this doesn't have to be a secret. Once the kids know, you know, guys, when you were kids, you wouldn't care, like you didn't care what was going on. You would play and that was it. Try to go back to that phase. I'm sure they will understand that maybe that could be a solution to their issue if they just jump quickly into the activity and play and learn. So I'm sure they will do that. The problem we have when we teach teenagers is that they don't want to feel like babies anymore. Of course, that's process of growing up. Okay, so they're actually the toughest. If you tell this to an adult, obviously he or she will understand. Tell this to a teenager who's trying so hard not to look like a child that it will feel like, oh, what am I going to do? Step backs. Okay, so the activity that I will introduce, it will be a bit tricky. They won't realize at the beginning, okay, that they're actually playing. You should tell this to the kids after the activity. Okay.
Okay. 1 moment. Okay, as usual, we've got some objectives. So after the 5-act introduction, okay, we'll come on. Don't leave us because we're not, the play is not over. Okay. But by the end of this session, you should be able to boost students' confidence by helping them to become spontaneous, creative, and reactive in conversations and in any communicative situation.
Yeah, sorry, Josh, can you guys see the slides now? You can read someone's comment. I can only see Luca now full screen and no slides.
I think, yeah, I think that's a personal thing. I mean, you might have to check what you're viewing. Look in the control panel of Zoom, and you should be able to sort that out and see both of them. Okay, if you want to see just us, or if you want to see the slides, or see both, I think they're all possible, but I think it's possible from your end. Okay, if you can't do that, have a look around on the control panel of Zoom. It should be okay.
All right.
Anyway, you should also be able to incorporate some drama exercises into the English lessons. Okay. Also, 1 moment. Preparing some activities which expand students' vocabulary so that they can absorb the words, verbs, idioms, and expressions, make their English truly fresh, authentic, and spontaneous. And finally, okay, you'll be better able to guarantee that students feel the need to improve their performances in English using the principle of learning through repetition. I think that's a key thing, Luca. I really agree with learning through repetition. I always, whenever I get students to repeat something, I get to repeat it until they're almost begging me to stop. Okay.
Absolutely, absolutely.
You know, I find a lot of people, for example, with pronunciation, they'll repeat until the student gets the pronunciation correct. But by that stage, they've only done it correct once. If you keep them repeating it, then they repeat it, the correct pronunciation, many times. And I think it's the same with any sort of, you know, if you're getting them to act something, if they're going to put some more passion into a sentence.
Absolutely.
So make sure they repeat that so it really drills in the correct pronunciation or the correct intonation. Okay.
Plus rehearsals in French, again, they're called répétition. So it's literally using the same word of repetition. That's what actors do before a performance. They repeat and repeat and repeat. And the more they repeat, the better it gets.
Oh, I like that Marina said she got 2 students to act the balcony scene from Romeo and Juliet.
Oh, nice.
I did that with one of my private students last week. Okay. I'm not ashamed to say I made him play Juliet. Okay. You know, that was the tradition back in the time that young boys would play the girls. So, you know, he was quite good. I think, you know, I was quite good as Romeo too, I think.
Yeah, you done what's Elizabethan drama. It was like this, no?
Yeah.
No women allowed on stage. Okay. No, let's sorry.
No, the first one that Luca's going to take you through is an idea that we touched on, similar to something we looked at in the Valentine's Day webinar. Luca's got a different spin on it. So in the chat while we're doing this, let us know if any of you did watch the Valentine's Day webinar, and let us know if you tried the speed dating activity we had there. I'm always interested to know if you're actually using these things that we're suggesting. Luca's going to have a little bit of a spin on it. Okay.
Yeah.
Looking at this worksheet.
All right. I promise if you do this, no matter the age of the students, you will have intense speaking practice for the entire class. you can split that into 2 classes. They will literally come up to you and ask you for more. At the beginning, I used to, have this activity to suggest this activity with kids from prima and seconda. So let's say biennio kids, 14, 15 years old. And I was a bit skeptical of having this activity. Like I said before, the more we grow, the more we fear. To the kids of quarta and quinta, well, they loved it. I've done this like first time ever this year, beginning of the year, September. Luckily, students were in class again, so we could do that. And literally, they spoke for the entire class. Okay, now, what is the activity about? First phase. Now, you need to ask your students to create their alter ego. Explain what's an alter ego. Obviously, and you can use the attached paper. They have to come up with a different name, different age, different nationality, ethnicity, job, and even personalities, okay? Hobbies and personality adjectives. Now, they have to create the alter ego on the specific idea, on the actual idea that let's say the alter ego will allow them to feel different for a bit. Okay, they will ask you why are we doing this? Why are we doing this? Why do we have to do that? Don't tell them. Okay, keep it secret until you can. Like, as long as they are doing the exercise, never mind the questions. Okay, and it's good, that their curiosity grows. All right, so they will pick up some personality adjectives. Like we're providing you a list here. There's nice adjectives, bad adjectives, like good and like I don't know, gentle, for example. There's those like naughty, cruel. They will have fun with this, okay, in choosing what personality they want to have. And please allow 10 minutes for this part, no more, because one good part of every drama class is based on improvising. Okay, so don't let them prepare too much, otherwise they lose a bit of the energy and also the fun of the activity. Let's move to very important. Tell your students to keep the alter ego secret. Okay, they don't have to share it with anybody else. This also is increasing curiosity in my experience, and I'm sure in yours. If you're teaching in art schools, piece of advice: you may want to ask your students to draw their alter ego once the activity is finished. I am teaching this year for the first time in an art school, and this is why I'm suggesting this. They came up with amazing. They don't have to be just art school. If you think your kids want to do that at the end of this activity, it's also nice as homework. You will come up with nice sketches and share it with their classmates. Okay, now. Phase 2, ask your students to move chairs and desks around and form a U-shaped classroom. Okay, this tends to be very noisy. We all know when we move chairs inside the class, our colleagues from next classroom come up, and we English teachers already are on the spotlight of playing some music sometimes. In the school, we know the way we're perceived in our schools, so we don't want to be you don't want that to be too messy. Tell them to simply, kind of move the chairs slowly, make them aware, because there's a lot to do, but it has to be done like this, okay? So tell them to sit after that. So to form this U-shaped classroom, after that, ask them to sit one in front of the other with the desk in between, and to take their copybooks and pens with them. They will definitely choose one person to sit, opposite to them. They will make pairs. That doesn't work. It will work at the first round. Then, unfortunately, they will have to change, because this is the phase in which they will discover what's going on. Okay. Now, what's going on is literally a speed date style conversation. Okay. The students will have to introduce themselves to the partner using their brand new personality. They will have 2 minutes in total, so more or less 1 minute each, to impress their partner, who will have to take down their name and rate them 1 to 5 on how interesting they found their personality. I'm gonna repeat this a bit slowly, just to make sure that I've explained myself.
Yeah, I think it's clear. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. We can move on then. No, I just wanted to make sure the 1 minute each is something that you cannot check. Okay, you can't check because obviously it literally depends on their real personality. But yes, they will speak in first person. They will say, "Hi, I am Giorgio Bertagnolio. I am a football player, and I'm like very popular in France because I play for the French tournament." Whatever is their story, and they may take a lot of space. So just make sure that they understand they have more or less 1 minute each. Otherwise, those with a stronger personality will tend to, take the whole time. Now, when it's 1 minute and 50 seconds, you start to count. You should say out loud, "Time to say goodbye. Be ready to move in 3, 2, 1. One row only." You need to choose which one. Will shift to the right. The other row will stay still. Okay, literally like moving and shifting. And this way they will find a new partner. Okay. After that, each student will have a new partner and they will continue. Moving can vary according to the class size and the number of students, of course. What is important at the end of the class is that each student meets everybody else. Okay, so at one point you will have to say who hasn't met who, and they will literally stand up and go meet somebody they haven't met, because the whole, going round at one point doesn't work anymore. Okay, advice. First piece of advice, don't be surprised if the class becomes very loud. Okay, you have 20 people speaking all together, maybe more, maybe less. So it's absolutely normal. But if the class is loud, it means the activity is successful. Okay, there will be 20 people speaking almost all together. So bear with the level of noise and don't be scared by it. It means it's working perfectly fine.
Someone just asked in the chat if you can have the slides. Don't worry, all of the information is on the handout. Okay, so you'll be receiving the handout, and so if we're going through it quite quickly, it's because there's a lot of information, but it's all there. The exact same text is in the handout, so don't worry about that. Okay.
All right, second piece of advice, speaking Italian or laughing, okay? Both things are quite normal as well. Some students feel a bit weak. They will try to switch, okay, into Italian. They will try to use Italian because they will feel a bit lost. You need to encourage them to literally break it down with a very simple language, very basic English. Literally, keep it simple. Just introduce yourself. They've done that several times with their name and last name, so they should be able to do that. But some of them literally, because they're a bit embarrassed, they will feel they want to use Italian just because Italian sounds cooler, because they know that they're not making mistakes. Okay, this is connected strictly to the fear of looking ridiculous. But that's the next point that I'd like to speak about. Now, laughing. Okay, have you ever thought about laughing as a mechanism somehow that it's quite instinctive when we are embarrassed? Now, why do we laugh? Sometimes we fall and we laugh. So we fall down, or we trip, or we say something silly, we laugh. We literally laugh. That is an anticipation. So the brain works in this way. Somebody is going to laugh at me for what I've said or what I've done. I'm going to laugh first. Okay, this anticipation, it's quite spontaneous and natural. So kids sometimes they tend to laugh because they feel embarrassed. Okay, or they see someone doing something, they laugh because they themselves they kind of feel the embarrassment of the other, and they don't want to feel that. All right, so they try to take over their embarrassment with this laugh. Try to explain again this to the kids. Kids, don't laugh. There's nothing to be embarrassed.
Now there's a new slang term. Do you know this term? Cringe. Everyone's
cringe. Oh my god, yeah. Cringe. Yeah, it's coming from social media, and it's been used a lot. Yes. So yeah, don't underestimate the possibility of having a frank chat with kids in which you, during this conversation with them, you're going to tell them, you guys are laughing. We know why you're laughing. Okay, you're laughing because you feel embarrassed. Don't feel embarrassed. Don't laugh. Once they work that out, when they understand the process, they will try not to. Okay. Now, what's phase 4? Once everybody has met each other, ask the students to secretly vote for their best alter ego. They remember they had their pen and their handbooks with them, their copybooks with them. So they should have written down name and a rate, collect the votes and choose the top 3. And after that, the top 3 students will have to come to your desk and in front of the class, introduce themselves again and explain why they should vote for them. Students will vote once again and will elect the best alter ego.
Okay.
Now, what's the conclusion? Students will have spoken a lot by the end of this class, and very likely they have enjoyed their new personality. Explain to them the power of repetition. That's what Josh was saying at the beginning. At the end of the activity, each of them will have repeated the same story at least 15 times. And I'm sure, and you can be sure, they will have noticed the fact that repetition after repetition, their story, the way they delivered it, have got better and better and better. Repetition after repetition, just as it would be repeating a paragraph on any of the topics they're studying, you know, with other subjects while they're doing their homework.
Yeah, great.
Okay, activity 2, this is literally a game. Okay, there's language, there's movement, but this is literally a game. We call the strike first. Now, anxious students, we all have anxious students, shy students. Now, they tend to ignore when we ask to the class, who would like to read next paragraph? Or when we refer to the class, we simply ask, what is your opinion, guys, about this? Well, what happens is the usual students raise their hands up, and the shy students, those who are a bit anxious, they tend to ignore the question because fear is again haunting them, and this makes sit them in silence all the time. Now, like a dog chasing its tail, what happens is those who should practice more never speak. And those who actually don't need to practice that much, they're still practicing and taking advantage. Now, the more we keep quiet, the more our anxiety grows. Okay, the more anxiety grows, the less we speak. And here we go. This results in frustration for both teachers and students. Yes, if we wait too much for our turn to speak, the more we keep silent, the more our anxiety grows. Okay, so what do? We strike first. This activity is proving you on, it's kind of giving you, you know, the chance of understanding why is it important to strike first. Now, quick suggestion, always stress on how it is important not to laugh about somebody's mistakes. Again, like try to keep this as a rule. I'm sure you already do, but try to repeat this, okay? There's nothing ridiculous in speaking a good language and delivering, you know, a good accent and pronunciation. Some of them I found out when they come up to me, for example, and they say, teacher, can I please come say, you know, I have an oral test. They come to the desk, I prefer to speak here because I'm a bit embarrassed to speak. I always encourage them to speak in front of the class, but as soon as they kind of speak, you know, just literally close to me, so nobody can speak, their English sounds amazing. You know what I mean? So there is one rule on the stage, which is the same, I think, in class. There's nothing ridiculous again. And there is, how can I say, the things are literally or either well done or badly done. That is the rule. Okay. Yeah. Strike first, phase 1. Each student has to pick up a verb and a gesture. For example, drink. Very easy. Okay. So each verb will be accompanied by the gesture of the glass reaching out to the mouth. They keep this secret. It could be literally anything. It could be drink. It can be write. It can be, I don't know, listen. Very basic. In turns, one at a time, the students will have to come to your desk, and in front of the class, they will have to say the verb and perform it. Okay? There will be random, of course, because you're going to say, whoever feels wants to come first, please come here and show to the class the verb you picked up. Okay? Now, they should quickly understand that it is better not to wait because what happens is that the first student will just do his own part. The second student will have to repeat the word and the gesture of the first and then introduce his own. The third one will have to repeat the first and the second. So first one comes and he goes, drink. Second one comes and says, drink write. Third one comes and says, drink, write, and watch. Okay. And the fourth, the fifth, the sixth, the seventh one will be in so much trouble. The eighth and the ninth. So literally they should run a competition on who wants to come first and strike first. Okay. Conclusions. Well, this activity needs a lot of encouragement. I've done this with different groups. I am sure you've noticed after 2 years of pandemic that kids have come back with a bit of fear and a bit of anxiety, like they're more anxious than before. This is my experience, okay? So when I've had this activity in the past, like when I had it in the past, it was quite easy. I'm noticing that like kids nowadays are a bit more concerned. They're a bit more shy. It could be just simply my experience, but I'm quite sure that that's the case, okay? So try to encourage the students to do this. Try to encourage the students to take part and make them understand that what we're practicing here is their capacity of observation and literally, memory. It's the reason for this exercise. I want to just test your memory. We're just doing this to understand how many things you can remember. Okay, we know what's the goal of the activity. Don't tell them this because they will feel uncomfortable. If you tell them we're doing this just to prove that you have to come first, you may explain this later after the activity is done. Okay. Obviously, we can encourage the students, but we can't force them. Forcing them doing this can have the opposite effect. They may feel like so defeated, okay, if they won't be able to stand up and come and perform. Don't be surprised if the students laugh. Try to value the positive effect of having students who take a chance of standing in front of everybody, speaking and performing. Laugh comes because the 7th and the 8th, they will change the gesture. There will be obviously the one in the class is doing something very weird, like screaming and doing, like superhero, something like this, and so obviously they will laugh, but again, it's part of the activity. And if we all have fun, the activity is going pretty well. Okay, and this I kind of suggest not to forget how it is important. We do this in drama school all the time. Like we repeat literally pronunciation and the way we should pronounce sounds. Okay, so do not underestimate the power of phonetics. How to articulate the sounds, how to breathe, and the tones of voice are essential to the act of speaking. A good actor studies phonetics, so should a good student of English. You may want to use the International Phonetic Alphabet Chart.
I've included a link to a very good page where you can look at it there too, in the handout.
Yeah, well, let's say that
they're often in the back of textbooks also.
Yeah, they are very often. Yeah. This will look, of course, you've all had your experience, with phonetic. And once the first time they show them the chart, they feel this is too difficult. As a matter of fact, we all know it's quite easy. And the whole alphabet, once you've practiced a little bit, it should be easy. But literally
I think the vowels are really useful for Italian students. I mean, a lot of the consonants sort of, apart from the th sort of sound, but the vowels, showing them the diphthongs, these sort of things is really going to help them with their pronunciation. Just to notice there is a difference between, I and e, sounds, things like that, which, as probably everyone knows, that can be a little bit of a problem if you pronounce sheet incorrectly, for example.
Oh my God, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely. Well, yeah, for example, I do stress sometimes on double consonants. Sometimes I make some differences between American English and British English. Sometimes we have fun with the Mancunian accent. They all nowadays, because they watch so many TV shows, they come and they say, oh my God, I watched that TV show and literally I couldn't understand where they were from. Then I had to Google it and I understood that is the accent from Manchester.
Peaky Blinders and things
Peaky
like that.
Blinders, that every student is obsessed with that. And every student say, oh my God, that accent. So some students I've noticed, they prefer the American accent because obviously it sounds to their ears more like stretched in the sounds. And so they kind of understand it easier. But other than that, yeah, literally, I suggest also that you have some literally exercises on how to move their mouth. Encourage them to notice the different movements that the mouth makes when they say, for example, no instead of no in
Yeah,
Italian.
in fact, I
You're
often
saying,
do that. With,
yeah, good.
you know, if I can't see your tongue, okay, then you're not pronouncing it correctly.
Yeah,
okay?
nice. All actors do, and so our students should do the same, in my opinion. And I think we're pretty much done because
And I think just as a sort of final point, I thought you know, I've also added some links in the handout to other ideas about acting in class and drama in class. So there's lots of other good ideas. Charades can be fun. You know, it gets everyone shouting out words in English, things like this. You know, remember when you're reading literature, don't just, you know, try to get them to read it in the tone of voice that it should be read. Okay. Find it read out in a YouTube video and sort of get them to maybe even assign them as homework to learn a sort of passage or a poem with the intonation that they can copy. Okay. I find a lot of textbooks, particularly at middle school level, each chapter or unit starts with a dialogue between two characters, for example, introducing the vocabulary. I don't like the idea that they're just looking at that in silence. I think they should be reading it, you know, putting correct question intonation, saying that they're, you know, emphatic about this. When they're excited, they should be being excited, just as we're talking about doing Romeo and Juliet as a dialogue. That's what it needs to be. That's what it was meant to be. It's not meant to be on the page. You know, Shakespeare never really published his own books. Okay, for him, they lived and died on the stage, and I think, you know, you've got to really emphasize the speaking part of it, and you know, that's how they're going to get confidence and get you know, expressive ability. Okay, by intoning, pronouncing. Okay, not just reading it, you know, in a flat voice. Okay, English is a very you know, intonational language. You know, we don't really pronounce the words, we pronounce the sentences and omit a lot of the words. Okay, repetition's your friend, as we already
absolutely
saw.
yes.
I think that's sort of bringing us to the end of our webinar. So feel free to keep giving us suggestions. And what I'd also like to know, just in the last minutes, is if you have a favorite of the webinars that we did this year. So I'd like to know if you've got any future ideas and which ones were your favorites. Remember that if you did miss any, they are available on the MLA World YouTube page. Okay, so you'll find the recordings there. I don't know if all of them have been put on, but I know for the last about 10 or so are on there. So you'll find the more recent ones, certainly. But keep watching those, and we will be coming back after the summer. Okay, and I'd really be keen to have Luca come back as well. So
thank you.
I'd really like to thank Luca a lot for your a really helpful webinar.
Thank you for having me.
It's a lot of things there that you could do in class, and just look, to be honest, a lot of concepts that I think people can approach different ideas with. Please remember that everything you've seen on the slides will be in the handout there, and it's got that the worksheet for the alter ego adjectives. Okay, there's also a lot of extra links and things there that you can look at other people's ideas. I'm sorry to say this is the last webinar of the academic year. Okay, so we're going out on a high with Luca, but I hope you've enjoyed them and found them useful. But we certainly will be starting them again in September. Okay, and so I hope to see you then. But more importantly, I really hope to see a lot of familiar faces in our British centres and Irish centres and American centres. Okay, I think everyone we've had on the webinars this year will be in some centres. So I really hope to see everyone there, and I hope you're going to have a really good summer. If you're not coming to the summer centres, well then have a great summer anyway. Okay, but So please join us again, and feel free to watch the other ones and tell other people about it, because we will be starting again in September. It's been a pleasure today.
It's been a pleasure.
And thank you very much, Luca.
Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for having me. Thank you for the support. Thank you, MLA. I want to also say goodbye to all. I'm reading all the messages. So many teachers. Thank you to you guys. It was a pleasure, literally a pleasure.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, guys, and we'll see you in summer or in September. Okay. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.